The South African Local Government Association is hosting a seminar on coalition governments ahead of the 29 May polls. Coalitions have been characterized by conflict and instability in the country's big metros, such as the city of Johannesburg and Tshwane, and it's resulted in poor service delivery in communities. United Nations Development Program's manager, Bongani Matomela, joins us now to talk more about their involvement in the gathering. Bongani, good morning, and thank you very much for your time. Nothing speaks louder than a lived experience. And life under coalitions in South Africa have in the main proved unstable, politically selfish, and stifling service delivery. This isn't how it should be, should it?
Certainly not. I think in the country, around the period of 2016 up to now, the emergence of coalition has been good, but also not that good in terms of stability at local government level. And that really has led to a lot of problems, challenges with regards to service delivery, but also leading to distrust, among citizens in terms of the ability of local government to deliver against the backdrop of all of the challenges and also stemming from the National Dialogue on Coalitions Government last year that was convened by the Deputy President. We ourselves as the UNDP, SALGA and Frederick Ebert Stifting, we've decided to put together this two-day seminar just to tease out specific issues that possibly should go into the framework around ensuring that there is a legislative or there is some kind of a policy framework that guides how these coalitions work. We bring into the space the voice of citizens and other parties that are affected, like business and also organized labor. So we are hosting this two-day seminar precisely to be focusing on those issues with a view to contributing to the development of such an emerging framework so that we can ensure the stability at local government level, but also at provincial and national as well, to the extent that those may emerge after the elections.
Well, we'll circle back to what the attributes of that framework could look like and what they may look like in other countries. Coming back to what we've been experiencing, Johannesburg, 3 mayors since the 2021 local government elections. We've seen changes in mayors and speakers in major metros. What happens is that plans and the implementation of those plans either change or they stop and start. What, in your view, even from a global perspective, has been the biggest impact of coalition instability?
Well, I think the experience has been that as the democracy matures in the country as well, the political arrangements have to be different. And I think it's a good thing for democracy that, there's an emergence of a system where all the political players, have a space, in terms of ensuring the service delivery. But there's been challenges, basically, that basically comes to that. I think from international experiences, the issue about exploring whether the coalition should be regulated or not regulated, I think that is one thing that needs to be debated and discussed and finalized. But also the nature of the arrangements that are made at the local level, to the extent that they involve communities and communicated with the communities on a regular basis. We have seen many motions of no confidence in the administration as well. And of course, in choice and the need their voices are also taken into account when these agreements are reached and agreed upon.
Yeah, I really hope the signal holds. It was patchy there for a while. So as you've been saying, we need rules and we need mechanisms so that people can get uninterrupted services. The experience of life and governance is smooth and seamless. Talk to us about the fact that there is proposed legislation announced by our Cooperative Governance Minister to prevent instability. There was a national dialogue, which you referenced at the beginning of our interview, that was held. What are some of the innovations around coalitions that South Africa can benefit from?
In this today's seminar, we're going to be hearing a lot from the experiences of other countries like Germany, but also other countries that have experimented with coalition arrangements in the continent as well. I think at the core of this is the ability or the inability to manage political diversity when it comes to governing and the administration. And I think that's an experience that the country will need to draw from other contexts and jurisdiction. The other issue is really around the impact that it has on service delivery. We've seen situations where, as a result of perhaps some political bickering that happens at local government level, it actually affects the administration, it affects the delivery of services. And in the event that those coalition arrangements will have to be determined and created at provincial or national level, that's going to be quite critical that the country begins to work towards a framework around the nature of these agreements. Should they be coded or not coded? How do you involve the voices of the communities and other affected parties in those coalition arrangements? And I think there's a lot of experience, very instructive experiences from other countries that the country, South Africa, can draw from.
What are some of the basic rules of engagement, Bongani, that must be in any framework, where you can elevate the possibility of a coherent, coordinated, collaborative coalition government? What are some of the things? I mean, to my mind, as a citizen, for example, in the city, is that, things might change when it comes to things like revenue collection and my municipal bill, depending on who might be in the seat of power at any given time. Or around, the way that we move, or changes to the actual city itself in terms of the way, there might be landscape planning or infrastructure, whatever the case may be, and those plans being changed or interfered with by changes in the local government.
Certainly, and one of the things that we want to discuss in the seminar is the nature of the agreements that are struck by political parties and some independent candidates, and the need to look at the impact or the implication of whatever nature of the agreements are actually reached. I think that's something very critical that we're hoping that we'll deliberate a bit in this coming seminar that we're holding in the next 2 days. The other issue really relates around the aspect of ensuring that we need to start exploring, because in local government, for instance, there is a possibility of exploring some kind of governing arrangements. At the moment, most municipalities are run under the mayoral system, but there is a scope, to look at an executive system of government. In some instances, it has not been explored enough, but it's something that needs to be taken into consideration to ensure that the democracy and the participation of other role players is different. So one of the issues that need to be considered is perhaps to explore the implementation in this particular context of the executive system, where there's a collective and multi-party approach.
All right, our signals failed there, so we'll leave it there with Bongani, but I think in the main we understand what's happening. This is the aspiration of the gathering there, in conjunction with a number of partners and SALGA, to come up with this coherent framework of engagement around coalition governments. And it couldn't be more apt and important as we head into the next election. We've said it often, billed as the most important since the advent of democracy. The UNDP's Programs Manager, Bongani Matomela.